During Christmas celebrations, the Bali 9 drug smugglers joined the party, but an angry Corby stayed well away.
Don't touch me!
To mark Christmas Day, Schapelle Corby is in line to have her sentence cut, a remission of 1 month and 15 days. But the convicted drug smuggler was in no mood to celebrate.
I have been forced to come here.
She refused to attend a ceremony, and prison authorities had to order her out of her cell.
Do you know the reason? Because he wouldn't. I told him I won't come out for a photo with the cameras. I told him I won't come, and he told me he cut my remission.
While Corby was a no-show at the prison's Christmas celebrations, Bali 9 member Renee Lawrence took part. She's waiting on the Indonesian government to approve a 2-month reduction in her sentence. Even those who won't be coming home early enjoyed the Christmas celebration. And for ringleader Andrew Chan, a chance to reflect on his newfound faith.
It's all about unity, and it's all about how Christ has brought us all together here today.
Some were lucky enough to have their loved ones by their sides. For the last 6 years, their Christmas wishes have all been the same: to come home. Kerry Yaxley, 9 News.
Tropical cyclone Grant is tonight edging towards the Northern Territory coast. The Category 1 storm is expected to hit land east of Darwin tomorrow, and it could intensify. Let's go to 9's Charles Croucher live. Charles, good evening to you. The city could be facing some pretty rough weather by the sounds of things.
Good evening, Wendy. That is the case. Believe it or not, it's been quite a nice Christmas day here in Darwin. Not a lot of wind, not a lot of rain to speak of. And that's because most of our weather is sitting some 225 kilometres to the northeast of the city, where Tropical Cyclone Grant is currently intensifying. Overnight, it went from that tropical low to a Category 1 cyclone, and we expect in the next 12 to 18 hours that to be upgraded to a Category 2 cyclone as it makes its first brush with the coastline. Now, there's been good news on Christmas morning for the citizens of Darwin. That storm front is moving east, and with that, pulling some of that nasty weather away into the east and away from the city. The bad news is that ever since first going on cyclone watch on Wednesday, this has proven a very difficult storm to track and almost impossible to predict. And for that reason alone, Darwin remains in a state of cyclone warning as we speak. And despite the fact that right now we're in a much better situation than we were some 24 hours ago, Wendy, I can promise you there's plenty of eyes on the skies over the coming day as Tropical Cyclone Grant makes its first landfall, and we expect that to be sometime tomorrow night.
Let's hope it stays well away, though. Thank you very much for that, Charles. Well, 3 people have been killed on the state's roads today, bringing the Christmas road toll to 4. A man died after crashing his car on the New England Highway at Wallabadar near Tamworth this morning. And a 49-year-old man and a 50-year-old woman were killed in a crash at Tweed Heads overnight. 2 children were nearly shot on Christmas Day during a robbery at their home in Melbourne's north. 2 masked gunmen stormed the family property at Reservoir early this morning. A shot was fired, but 6 people inside, including the 2 young children asleep in a bedroom, weren't hurt. Another asylum seeker boat has been intercepted by the Australian Navy. The vessel carrying 116 people was stopped north of Christmas Island. They'll be taken to the island's detention centre. Well, however you chose to celebrate Christmas, Sydney certainly put on some absolutely gorgeous weather. Thousands of families hit the beach, and of course there were plenty of young early risers keen to see what Santa had left under the tree.
Like most kids, it was a late and sleepless night for John and Kathleen Richards at their French's Forest home.
John went to bed about midnight. Kathleen was asleep slightly before that.
But they certainly didn't let that get in the way when it came to tackling the important stuff this morning. There were presents for the big kids as well. What to get Mum and Dad when their house looks like this? More Christmas lights, of course. Across Sydney, children everywhere celebrated the only way they know how. A gift of a different kind, though, for Janine and Nathan Potter.
Unbelievable. You don't plan for something like that.
Their daughter Lani, the first of the Christmas babies, arriving just 12 minutes into the day. At the Children's Hospital at Westmead, there was a surprise visit from the big man in red.
Merry Christmas!
While at Sydney Children's Hospital, a special appearance from 4 men who are almost as popular as Santa himself. But perhaps the true spirit of Christmas was best seen here. The 26th Exodus Foundation Christmas Lunch for the needy. 300 volunteers were on hand to help serve 80 hams, 300 kilos of turkey and half a tonne of potatoes to around 3,000 people.
It's better, they say it's better to give than to receive.
And then, of course, one of the best gifts of all, glorious weather after a wet week. While most families are celebrating Christmas at home this year, others are relishing the fact that summer has finally arrived in Sydney. And where better to be than Bondi Beach? With blue skies and a balmy 27 degrees, it was the perfect Aussie Christmas for locals.
Perfect day for the beach.
And those away from home.
It's really a great way to spend the afternoon.
Amelia Ballinger.
Merry Christmas!
9 News.
Well, Christmas is a time for families, but sometimes the message can be forgotten amid all of the food and the festivities. At church services in Sydney and right around the world today, religious leaders urge people to look beyond the glitter for the holiday's true meaning.
The celebration of the birth of Christ started at the stroke of midnight. For many Sydney families, this nighttime pilgrimage to St Mary's is a Christmas tradition, rich in song and spiritual meaning. At the St Andrew's morning service, Anglican Archbishop Peter Jensen urged people to put their faith in God at a time when the world faces so much uncertainty.
Even the best of human beings will let us down, but not God.
The Prime Minister put her faith in families.
To all Australians, wherever you are and whoever you are with, I hope today at your place has been everything you hoped for.
The opposition leader using his Christmas message to thank our troops serving overseas, the young men and women who are so far away from their families these holidays.
You are Australia's finest. We respect your courage and we admire your service.
On a day that's often finished with tinsel trimmings, the head of the Roman Catholic Church, Pope Benedict XVI, decried the commercialisation of Christmas, urging the faithful to look beyond the holiday's superficial glitter to discover its true meaning. This service at St Peter's Basilica in the Vatican, the start of an intense 2 weeks of public appearances that will test the pontiff's stamina amid signs fatigue is starting to slow the 84-year-old down. Sarah Harris, 9 News.
Wild surf has forced the closure of some of Queensland's most popular beaches. A severe weather warning is in place right along the Gold Coast, and on the Sunshine Coast, rescuers responded to a four-wheel drive stuck on the shore at Caloundra. Beachgoers here are also being warned about dangerous surf after a 30-year-old man drowned at Ulladulla on the south coast. The Duke of Edinburgh is in good spirits but remains in hospital tonight after undergoing heart surgery. The 90-year-old has been visited by his wife, the Queen, and senior members of the royal family.
After an anxious journey to be at her husband's bedside, the Queen looked at ease after spending 45 minutes with him. Prince Andrew, Prince Edward and Princess Anne accompanied their mother for the 80-kilometre helicopter ride to Papworth Hospital in Cambridgeshire. The palace says the Duke of Edinburgh is in good spirits and doing well following the surgery in which a stent was inserted for a blocked coronary artery. As the 90-year-old recovers, he's said to be eager to leave and rejoin his family at Sandringham. Prince Charles and Camilla joined the growing number of well-wishers outside the hospital.
We just felt we had to come and offer our best wishes to the Duke, who's done so much.
He's been a great ambassador to this country. I think contributed quite a lot to this country, so we're here to just wish him well.
In the Queen's Christmas message, recorded before her husband's heart problem, she reflected on the value of a supportive family.
We've seen that it's in hardship that we often find strength from our families. It is in adversity that new friendships are sometimes formed.
For 64 years, the Duke of Edinburgh has been at the Queen's side at Christmas time, and it's hoped he'll find renewed strength to overcome this health scare and celebrate many more. Peter Stefanovic, 9 News.
The Australian Senator has met with officials in Sweden to discuss the future of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. Scott Ludlam flew to Sweden to secure guarantees about the 40-year-old's human rights should he be extradited there. Assange is wanted for questioning over allegations of sexual assault. In many neighbourhoods, the competition to decorate your house with Christmas lights can get pretty serious. But over in Los Angeles, the competition has gone to a whole new level. Nine's Robert Penfold visited a very special place. It's called Candy Cane Lane.
Hey, Dan, let's get started.
In this season to be jolly, Jesse Mercado is about to convert his house in the Los Angeles suburbs from this to this. He's already spent a day in Disneyland sketching It's a Small World and now will recreate it in his front yard.
It's complicated because we're actually doing the identical scale from the Disneyland Anaheim one. I think that'll look good.
Each Christmas, this particular neighbourhood gets renamed Candy Cane Lane. 8 blocks of houses, more than 130 homes, lighting up the season.
Merry Christmas!
It's a 2-week traffic jam. There's prancers and dancers, snowmen and helicopters. Big, but not as big as Jesse's. How many lights have you got there, Jesse?
Oh, over 20,000 easily.
It's like being in Disney World.
They don't talk about it a lot here in the neighbourhood, but there is no doubt there's a lot of competition going on from house to house. But this year there's no doubt that Jesse's decorations have come in at number 1. And perhaps he deserves it, seeing at the end of the month he's going to get a power bill of over $9,000.
And tonight at Jesse's there's more. He's even brought in the local band, spreading the Christmas spirit up and down Candy Cane Lane.
Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle all the way.
Robert Penfold, 9 News, Los Angeles.
What a great story. Tim Gilbert joins us now with sport. Good evening, Tim. Merry Christmas to you.
And a Merry Christmas to you, Wendy. Christmas means sport and it means cricket. Our Aussie cricketers
was particularly generous. A crack detected in the spreader called for some last-minute repairs. Fortunately for Outrageous Fortune, it got sorted in the nick of time.
Yeah, Santa's done a great job. As you can see, we're ready and raring to go.
Seasoned Melbourne ocean racer Beyond Outrageous has changed its name to Kiss Goodbye to MS after a crew member was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. They're hoping to raise awareness and funds for the disease.
Oh, we're hoping to raise $50,000.
The Sydney to Hobart began in 1945 when a group of Sydney yachtsmen planned a post-World War II cruise down to Hobart. 66 years on, and this great race is not only an iconic part of Australian sport, it's ranked among the toughest in the world. Wild Oats 11 is tipped to take line honours for the 6th time, while Loki is a strong contender in the battle for overall honours.
I think at the moment the first night's pretty interesting. We expect a southerly change.
But with storms also forecast, erratic conditions are expected.
It's kind of interesting, I think, the storm cells because, you get a lot of rain, lightning. The wind can change quite radically in those conditions.
For now, one last chance to drink and be merry before the big adventure begins. Daniela Intilli, 9 News.
After setting a new record for the greatest unbeaten streak in Australian sport, there's one record the Brisbane Roar will be desperate to avoid. The defending A-League champions are aiming to end the club's worst ever losing run of 4 defeats when they face Gold Coast United at Skill Park tomorrow night. And how's this for a touchdown? Cincinnati receiver Jerome Simpson can never be accused of not putting in for his team. He did a somersault over an Arizona Cardinals defender and still managed to land on his feet. Cincinnati had a 23-16 victory. That's handy. Now, tomorrow, one of the great days in Australian sport, the Boxing Day Test match, live on 9 all day.
Perfect. Look forward to it. Thanks very much for that, Timmy. Well, after the break for you, we will have the weather forecast for Boxing Day and for the test and the week ahead. It was perfect Christmas weather in Sydney. It reached 27 degrees in the city and 31 in our west. On the satellite, tropical cyclone Grant is bringing showers and storms over the top end, and a trough that extends over southern parts of the country is causing isolated showers and storms over parts of New South Wales, Victoria and Tasmania. So for Boxing Day tomorrow, 23 degrees in Melbourne, a morning shower or two there. Blue skies in Brisbane and Perth, partly cloudy in Adelaide, a shower or two developing in Hobart. A mostly sunny start to the day for us in Sydney tomorrow. Showers and storms developing from midday though. It should reach 26 degrees in the city and 29 in our west. And those showers will hang around for most of the week, clearing temporarily, then becoming wet again on New Year's Eve. Much the same in our west with slightly warmer temperatures and should be mostly fine for next weekend. And that's 9 News for this Christmas Day. I'm Wendy Kingston. Have a great evening. Good night.